One, two, 1, 2. There we go. Camera on, mic on. Hello, everybody. How are you? Hope you're well. Welcome to Politics, Culture, and some other shit. We're going to do a quick video on the Ohio train wreck disaster. Well, it is a fucking disaster. Biggest environmental disaster in American history, it turned out to be. And as always, this is about the story, the real story for me. Apart from the human beings involved whose lives are destroyed and are probably going to end up living with horrible diseases, is it's capitalism's fault, as always. So we're going to get into it. If you want to, please share this video. If you're hearing this on audio, please share. I did another video and podcast today. Basically, it's uploaded as a podcast and a video on my YouTube. You can head over there and follow Politics, Culture, and some other shit on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. And if you want to, you can lend me your support on Twitter or on Patreon for £1 a month. That's all I ask. If you want to, it all adds up. It's not much, but believe you me, I'm glad of it whenever it comes in. So, thank you very much. As I said, like, share, subscribe. And let's get to it. So, there was a train wreck in Ohio, in a town called Palestine. The Americans call it Palestine, but it's spelt Palestine, so I'm calling it Palestine. And by the way, I am doing this video for those of us this side of the Atlantic. I guess if you're an American and you're watching this, you probably know all about it. It's not getting huge amounts of coverage over here, as you would expect it. You wouldn't expect it to. So, what's happened? This is what's happened, basically. So, here's the Wikipedia entry. The 2023 Ohio train derailment on February 3rd, which was 2 weeks ago. A freight train carrying, there's a list of chemicals there, vinyl chloride, butyl acrylate, etc., etc. Derailed along the Norfolk Southern Railway in East Palestine, Ohio. Emergency crews conducted a controlled burn, that bit's important, remember that, of the spill at the request of state officials, which released hydrogen chloride and phosgene into the air. As a result, residents within a mile radius were evacuated and an emergency response from agencies across 3 states was initiated. EPA published a list provided by etc., etc. So that's what happened, okay? Now, what is all that? Okay. So that's what happened. So, why did the train crash? We're going to get into it. Railway workers are going to explain, but I'm going to give you the breakdown on the braking system. This is important. There's a couple of different reasons, but this is one that I'm going to have to explain to you because I don't have a video of someone else explaining it. The braking system on these trains is from the 60s. The 1860s. No, Andy, that's wrong. No, it is. It's true. It's a hydraulic mechanical braking system designed in the 1860s. And pretty much, if a train engineer from the 1860s was skipped forward in time, he would recognise it. Now, so what that means is, because it's hydraulic and it's mechanical, so what happens is you got the engineer at the front of the train, he applies the brake, and then the braking pressure then moves along the train in sequence. So the engine gets the brake first, the next carriage then gets the brake, so there's a slight delay, and on down the train until it gets to the last carriage. Now, if the train is 10 carriages long, that's grand. That's not going to be a problem. These trains are 2 miles long. This train was 1.9 miles long. These carriages, I guess that's hundreds of carriages, I assume. By the time that hydraulic pressure moves all the way along that train, you've got issues, right? So you get this concertina effect, and the engine will brake, the next carriage will brake, it'll boom, 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 and it'll move all the way along this 2 mile long behemoth of a vehicle. And in this instance, this is what actually caused the derailment, along with a few other issues. Track maintenance, there was a lot of track maintenance problems, the braking system. The unions were they were on strike just before Christmas, and they were trying to get the brakes replaced for a new modern electronic braking system, which would apply the braking pressure evenly down the train, right? Okay, that makes sense. Especially when you're dealing with a vehicle that's transporting what? Dangerous, flammable, toxic chemicals. So you would think it would have been a priority to make these vehicles as safe as possible, but no, because you're dealing with um, a capitalism and capitalist industry, it's profit extraction with a minimum amount of maintenance. We can relate to this all over all over the capitalist world, that this is why our infrastructure is just crumbling to shite, because profit is being extracted, no maintenance is being carried out. And this company in particular, this Norfolk Southern, what they have done is it will cost them something like $2 billion to replace the braking system, and in the same year they lobbied the government. They initially sounded out as though they were in favour of this, but they didn't think the government would go for it. Then when the government actually went for it, they then started to lobby the government to reverse that decision, and that's what happened. So instead of them spending $2 billion on brakes, they spent $10 billion on stock buybacks, which is what capitalists do. Okay? So, now, this guy is going to, I've just lost that wee video. Let's see if I can find it again for you. It's down here somewhere. There it is. This guy is going to explain exactly what happens chemically to vinyl. What was it called again? He'll explain it. Check this out.
This hasn't been getting a lot of coverage, and the coverage that it has been getting hasn't been very good. So let's talk about the trail derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. East Palestine's about an hour north of Pittsburgh, almost halfway to Cleveland. Norfolk Southern has a rail line that goes right through town, and this derailment happened right on the edge outside of town on the border of PA and Ohio. Of the cars that crashed, 5 of them contained vinyl chloride. It's a monomer used to make PVC. The reporting on this has gotten vinyl chloride confused with polyvinyl chloride, the polymer made out of vinyl chloride. Now, the reason that this distinction is really important is vinyl chloride is very hazardous and very flammable. Polyvinyl chloride is a plastics that's used in like everything. The other thing about vinyl chloride is that it boils at 8 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's shipped in its liquid form. Meaning that when these trains crashed and these started leaking, they weren't just leaking liquid, but they were spewing boiling gas. So vinyl chloride is really toxic. OSHA has the permissible limit of how much you can be exposed to it during an 8-hour shift as a 1 ppm part per million, average over 8 hours. So prior to this, the biggest spill of this chemical was in New Jersey, where one train car and about 23,000 gallons of vinyl chloride were spilled, but it didn't catch on fire. Now, this crash in Ohio has 5 train cars. These kinds of tanker cars can carry between 25 and 33,000 gallons. Let's call it 250 to 250,000 pounds of vinyl chloride. That's per train car, 5 train cars. There's maybe 1 million pounds of this toxic chemical spilling into the ground and also boiling off into the air. But then it caught on fire. I think this is where the reporting is really bad, because no one is mentioning what the byproduct of vinyl chloride burning is. Of the many byproducts of burning vinyl chloride, one of them is hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride is really unstable and latches onto water, like just water vapor in the atmosphere, and that turns into hydrochloric acid. So right now, government officials from the railroad, both the governor of Pennsylvania and Ohio, are calling burning off the 1 million pounds of this stuff a success, but not mentioning that it means that we have hundreds of thousands of pounds of acid in the air, potentially. Now, ever since engineering school, I've studied a lot of industrial accidents. I just find it really...
By the way, just on this video, he did this video really quick, within a day or two of the accident, and he's assuming, he's making assumptions based on his engineering knowledge. He was absolutely correct. That's what's fascinating about this video. He is spot fucking on. In fact, as doom-laden as it sounds, it's not even close to how bad it is. back to the video.
Really fascinating, and organizations like the Chemical Safety Board, NTSB, and OSHA all have like really good reports available to the public. I think as a designer, it's really good to learn about mistakes. When looking at these kinds of industrial disasters across time, there are a couple things that are pretty universal across all of them. One, the responsible party, in this case Norfolk Southern Railway, always plays down the reality of the situation. Politicians also just repeat the same lines, and then news outlets just repeat the same. So all we're hearing is the responsible party's word.
So there we go. Did you get that? So the chemical gets burned off. So it's vinyl. Oh, I forgot the fucking thing. So it gets spilled. So in order to stop it spilling, they set it on fire. This has created a massive toxic cloud over this. It's basically a big village. There's 25,000 people live in this place. But the problem is that in the burning, it changes the nature of the chemical, as heat does with chemicals. You know how this works. It changes it from one thing to another. It rises into the atmosphere, attaches itself to moisture. It can be rain or just moisture in the atmosphere. And then that goes down to the ground, to the rivers, to the seas, to the land, whatever, and causes big fucking problems. So let's see what sort of problems. Wait till you see this. It is beyond belief. Right, let me just see if I can. So there's the train video. There's the burn off. This is a news report, and they were arresting news reporters.
Derailed Friday, 20 of them carrying hazardous materials as flames lit up the sky in northeastern Ohio.
The evacuation order is in place for anyone within a mile radius of the crash site.
These aren't storm clouds. This is the fucking shit! The fucking shit that burned off in East Palestine! This is not fucking storm clouds!
Oh, look at that! Look at that! There's the video. There's the video. There's the picture. So you dudes that are listening to this, there's a picture here from a passenger liner. Someone's obviously just put their camera out the window, and you can see they're above the clouds, all white, and then there's this black plume just right there in the middle of it. Cops arresting a reporter. This guy got arrested for telling the truth. Dead fish floating in the water. I'll show you more videos about that in a minute. So, let me see now. There's Pete Buttigieg. He is there. Oh, has he made a? There he is. Oh, right. So Pete Buttigieg is made a statement. This is his first statement.
Rail safety.
This happened 2 weeks ago.
That has evolved a lot over the years, but there's clearly more that needs to be done because while this horrible situation has gotten a particularly high amount of attention, there are roughly 1,000 cases a year of a train derailing.
Jesus.
Rail safety is something that has.
Oh, that's okay then. Don't worry about it. Playing it down. Typical. So, let me see. I'm trying to find. There's another video. Nothing to see here. So let me. What have I done? Oh, here. Sorry. Here it is. Yes. So this. I want to show you some of the people. I'm not interested at the minute in talking heads like me. So this guy is the mayor of the town. I feel sorry for this dude. Mayor Trent Conway of East Palestine, Ohio. And this is a guy that has been elected mayor of a small town, a very small town. And he is not qualified to deal with this. And he was dealing with this more or less on his own for at the beginning anyway. So check it out.
I commend the United States EPA, the actual people on the ground doing
He's
the
referring
actual work.
to
They've been wonderful to work with, so is the Ohio EPA. But this is turning into a political circus now, and we have concern for our residents. And, you know, as far as Mayor Pete, as people like to call him, I would rather he just stay away. He is just going to cause a circus, and unless he's going to bring a shovel and shovel some dirt and get rid of this contaminated soil,
So, Pete Buttigieg, he's the Secretary for Transport, and he didn't today is I mean, I've been following this story, and today is the first day that he's commented. It's insane. It's the biggest environmental disaster in American history, and there's water coming out of the tap. Ooh, look at that. It's not supposed to look like that. Those of you listening, it looks all cloudy and shit. It's not good. So there's the original video of the guy losing his shit.
Storm clouds. This is the fucking shit that they burn off. The fucking shit they burn off in East Palestine. This is not fucking storm clouds. Look at it.
Looks like storm clouds. It's not.
This is over Darlington.
But look at the comment here. Now, this is from the 15th of February. Today is the 17th of February. And the commentator, David Wolf, who's got a blue check on Twitter, so he's obviously... well, let me just... that opened up. Let me see who he is. 186,000 followers, so I don't know who the dude is, but he's obviously... somebody knows who he is. And his question is, why is this not being covered? This was only 2 days ago, and it wasn't being covered. Now, it is being covered now. Check this out. So this lady here throws something into the river. Look at that. So those of you listening to this, oh my God.
It's all in the bottom of the creek bed.
It's all gone to... So it's came out of the sky. It's fallen into the river. It's contaminated the water, and it's fallen to the bottom of the creek. The creek. She throws something into the water that disturbs it, and it rises, and now the water looks like it's got a film of oil on it. All that iridescence that you see with that. Now the thing is that these people are claiming that it's clean. The EPA and the, what do you call them? The railway company. North Southern, whatever they're called. So there's more of the same. So basically, I just wanted to show you those. Oh, this is insane. This is a guy putting coffee and milk into his coffee. You can hear this one. It actually bubbles up. Do you hear it? So he's made his coffee and he's putting his milk into it. And hear that wee fizz? That's just a cup of coffee with milk going into it. So, dude, I don't know who you are, but I wouldn't fucking drink that. And this video here isn't some politician doing the same thing, put a stick into the creek, and it all got all bad. Let me see. So yeah, so there we go. So there's that, right? Now, back to the train. So, remember what I was telling you about the brakes, right? Over the 2 mile long thing. Now there's more to it, but this is the braking system is a part of it. Check this out. This is a video of the railway lines that these trains. It's not the specific railway part of track, parts of the track that the train derailed on, but this is what they have to deal with. This is a part of the maintenance that isn't undertaken, and you can see quite clearly the problem here. In fact, it's stark. Check it out. Where are we? Oh, there we go. So, where do you see this? Now, you can. I'll explain this to the people that are listening. There's a train there, and it's being filmed head on coming down the track, and you can see the tracks aren't straight. They're insanely wobbly. So just train struggle. The headline says train struggles to tackle bendy Ohio tracks. Now it's hard to believe that this is in Cecil, Ohio, USA. This freight train is having a rather tough time on these bendy tracks. It's insane. I cannot believe that it's illegal. After years of neglect, these Ohio train tracks are in desperate need of repair, the headline says. And you can see they're uneven, they're horizontally and vertically, they're not even parallel, they're running off. Thankfully, the driver clearly knows what he's doing, but it's slightly unnerving to watch. Some parts of the railway in particular need to be tackled at a slower pace. So you can see, now imagine that train being 2 mile long. The headline says, just imagine what it would be like if it was filled with passengers. Well, it's worse than that. So there's that. Now, here is another video. Now, the railway workers went on strike. I mentioned this, right? Here's an article from The Independent in the UK. Railway workers were given a 1-2 punch from the White House and the Republicans. Okay, let me just, get the article up here. There it is. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to give you the breakdown. A 40-year-old train conductor from Seattle is sick with the flu. His wife, who's also 8 months pregnant, is sick. Basically, the railway workers didn't get any sick leave. Any sick leave. Despite being a vital industry. After more than 2 years of negotiations between railway unions, rail companies and later the White House, Congress voted on Thursday to deny him the right for sick pay for the foreseeable future. And this is what happened. So in a separate vote, Republicans blocked a provision of 7 days paid sick leave, a key demand, underlying cause for the threatened strike next month. Now, the reason that the American government and the party in opposition, the Republicans, both sprang into action to stop them. They signed a law to stop them from going on strike. Because if these guys went on strike for 1 day, they would have fucking brought the country to a standstill. That's how important the rail industry is in America. Not the passenger transportation bit of it, the freight transport bit of it. It's huge. So here's a little bit. Joe Biden came to power promising to be the most pro-union president in American history. He's referred to himself as Amtrak Joe for his reliance on the trains. Praised the bill's passing as the right thing to do at the moment. Claimed that it had avoided an economic catastrophe. Now, all they had to do was pay the workers a certain. I mean, I don't know what I can't remember exactly what the figures are, but it's nothing compared to $10 billion in profit. Right? So these guys get no fucking sick pay, despite working in a very hazardous industry and an essential industry. So this is the lengths that the capitalists will go to in order to prevent the worker being paid what the worker is due. All the time. Right? So here is the striking workers and what they have to say about the disaster. This is a fucking massive disaster. Do not underestimate how serious this is. Check this guy out. He's going to break it down.
Rail workers warned us about disaster like this. I heard firsthand months ago about the corporate practice of precision scheduled railroading.
Precision scheduled railroading is shorter staff, longer hours, longer trains, less safety, less maintenance.
So remember I was saying about the brakes, and this is the other part of it, the precision scheduling.
Oh, you got it all right. I mean, a lot of the derailments that you're seeing on national TV is one of a few things. It's lack of maintenance on the track, or they've cut the track gangs too short and they can't get out to fix it, or they've cut the carmans, which is the union that works on the rail cars. So we have one derailment here in Northeast Ohio where a wheel flange was very thin. It picked a switch and derailed the entire train. Luckily, it was full of candle wax and not something highly volatile.
Rail workers tried to strike over this stuff, but were stopped by Congress. A few weeks later, and here we are. Several Norfolk Southern cars of toxic, highly volatile chemicals exploded fantastically in the tiny town of East Palestine, Ohio. 20 miles from where I grew up. So I met Clyde in East Palestine to ask him about it.
It looks like a faulty bearing caused a catastrophic derailment. These railroads are turning profits hand over fist. They've cut their workforce to bare bones, and now they're paying the price for it because the wheels are falling off the train, basically. Carmen were inspecting cars about 3 minutes per car. That's always been the industry standard. Now it's 90 seconds per car.
Is that because of PSR?
Yes, it's a rush job right now, and these guys are under pressure. I mean, they're working men and women, and, you know, if they don't hurry up and get this car done, they're going to be fired.
Great points. So I went to a press conference with Norfolk Southern and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine to ask them about this.
What could Precision Scheduled Railroad have to do with the axle failure that caused the derailment?
I have no idea that it's a mechanical issue. Precision Scheduled Railroading is a management process.
Not a great answer, and that's probably because Norfolk Southern let a worker take the fall, rather than a single corporate executive showing up in the town that they polluted to be held accountable. You see, Wall Street owns Norfolk Southern. 74% of shares are owned by a who's who of infamous hedge funds, and this is the business model that they demand. Profit at any cost. And disaster like this is simply a cost of doing business. They cut everything, make all the money, and pay off disasters in tiny flyover towns from the profit. But instead of answering for any of that, they're betting that the corporate media, under the same pressure for extreme profit as railroads, will only ask questions about how much cancer people will get and not why this preventable disaster happened.
Wow. So, you hear the point he's making? Remember the film Fight Club? Whenever Edward Norton's character, Jack, I think his name was, he was explaining about the car companies and about the cost of paying people for their cars getting into accidents because of their faults. Which is going to be cheaper? Just allow so many people to die and give their families $1 million each, or a recall of 100,000 cars to fix the steering wheels. That's basically what he's laid it out there. So now, nearly done here. Just on, I've got one more video for you, and actually, just need to make sure I've got that one. I haven't actually. Need to load that in. So, talking about one of the things that it's getting that's doing my domain at the minute is the realization of the lack of accountability. We know this anyway, but just see if I've got the right one here. Okay. So the lack of accountability, and the NGOs and charities and things that are supposed to hold a part of their jobs, along with the media, is they have to hold people accountable, and they don't, because they're a part of the charity industrial complex themselves, like these charities. So Greenpeace would be one of those. It's not to say that they don't do good work, but then they throw the likes of this up. And I found this article purely by mistake when I was researching this video. And this is an article by a guy called Rick Hind, who is, I think he's the chairman. It says at the bottom who he is. He's the chairman, legislative director at Greenpeace, whatever, right? So he says here, Ohio train wreck could be Biden's chance to champion chemical safety. Now, the Biden administration stopped those railway men from going on strike who were directly trying to prevent exactly this happening. Right? Now, it was Donald Trump that actually revoked a law that Obama had brought in, fair play to him, which meant that hazardous chemicals being transported by train had to be basically labelled as such, and extra special safety precautions had to be taken for obvious reasons. Trump repealed that, but when Biden got brought in, one of the things he was tasked, he was presented with, was this legislation to basically repeal, whatever, and he didn't do it. So this article makes me fucking boke. I'm not going to read it all, just the headline. And he says, last week's 50 car chemical, there you go, that's how long 2 miles of train is, 50 cars. Chemical train in East Palestine came close to causing a major disaster. Came close. This is a guy that works for Greenpeace. Residents had to be evacuated, etc., etc. So, but the things in the headline is the point for me. It could be Biden's chance to be a champion of chemical safety. This is not an opportunity for a politician to put a feather in his own cap. And someone that works for Greenpeace should be outraged, should be disgusted, because if I know what this is all about, living here in Lurgan, in Ireland, why does an American Greenpeace employee and columnist not know what I know? I knew last week this was a fucking disaster. Unbelievable. So, we're done. I'm going to finish with this one. This is Trey Crowder. And he basically breaks it down and calls out.
Hey, y'all, I think the tragic train derailment in East Ohio.
He calls out the capitalists in this one. I'm going to finish on this. I do disagree with him when he gets towards the end, when he gives the Democrats a bit of he doesn't let them off the hook completely, but he makes them out as if they're not as bad as the Republicans. They are. I think they're worse. I think the most evil thing on the planet at the minute, because they pretend to be good. They talk the language of inclusivity and niceness and wokeness. And these things are all good, but they use them against you. You feel me, bruv? So, I won't give Trey the last word, regardless whether I agree with him or not completely, but he gets it.
Is an appropriate indicator of the current status of this capitalist husk of a country. And the company behind it all, Norfolk Southern, they came out the gate handling things with a comically apathetic and heartless approach. They originally planned to give all the affected townspeople a $1,000 convenience fee. To be fair to them, I imagine watching everything you've ever known go up in chemical flames is probably pretty inconvenient, but the number they landed on is very telling, I think. I just picture them in the boardroom like, okay, sir, we're going to have to give these people something. All right, now the question you have to ask yourself is, what is the value of the entire life and livelihood of one Rust Belt trailer person? $1,000? I mean, after all, how much brick-shaped cheese do these people need to buy? You know? Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, hey, could you put a provision in there that says they have to physically come in and get the check? That way we can have them kneel down and be slapped across the face in accordance with company policy. All right, thanks. The whole thing is horrific, and it's come with a lot of finger-pointing, of course. Who's to blame? Is it Biden, Buttigieg, big train? I think it's the same toxic, roiling lifeblood that's been coursing through this country's veins since at least the damn cotton gin. Corporate greed. How much clearer of a message could they send that they will never value you over profit? They will never do the right thing. They must be forced at legislative gunpoint to conduct themselves otherwise. And I don't know who's going to do it. All right, I'm not going to act like the Democrats do a good job of standing up to big business. All right, in fact, I assume they've developed a chronic and serious back condition due to all the years of bending over they've done. Okay, but at least the Democrats are not openly antagonistic to two of the only forces that do work in opposition to this bullshit: unions and regulations.
This is where I disagree with them. We know what Biden did with the unions, forcing them back to work. So, I love you, Trey. No.
All right. Before Congress shut their strike down, the rail workers union tried to warn us about this. They were like, guys, they're cutting corners everywhere, no regards to safety. It's going to end bad. And we collectively responded to that like, all right, why don't you put your striped hat on and go back to pulling the choo-choo whistle, okay? Thanks. And look at us now, right? And regulations, they may be a boring topic, but regulations are the only thing standing between us and a world of neon rivers and canned meat that tastes suspiciously like Uncle Randy, right? And that's the future the companies want. Okay, and while the Democrats aren't standing in their way enough, the Republicans are rolling out the green carpet for them. All right, their interests are completely aligned on this stuff. The Republicans are openly and actively trying to abolish unions, gut the EPA, roll back child labor laws, and increase the retirement age. All right, so working people, look at that shit. Look at what's going on in East Ohio right now. Then look me in the eyes and tell me you still believe they're on your side. Love y'all. Hey, y'all, I think the tragic train derailment in East Ohio is an appropriate indicator of the current...
Fair play to you, Trey. Maybe I'm being a bit hard. Maybe I do agree with him about the thing. He knows his shit. He knows more than me anyway. So there we go. All done. What do you think of that? An absolute fucking disaster of a story, isn't it? I do... My heart is breaking for the people of East Palestine, Ohio, and it's kind of, there's a bit of a, you know, the railway workers in the UK are on strike as well, so we can kind of, it's not exactly the same, but they are warning of bad things are going to happen if these industries aren't taken care of, and the profit motive needs to be removed. Capitalism needs to be removed. Trade makes the point there at the end. You know, they need to be forced at gunpoint. They will not do the right thing. And this idea that they because they're concerned about their customers and then that's going to make them do the right. This is one of the arguments that the capitalist presents. It's such a load of shit. It's just it's childish. You know, if a baby come up with an argument like that, you would slap them down. So I'll keep an eye on that one for you, yeah, I hope they're all going to be okay. I just have a horrible feeling that a lot of these people are going to be dying of cancer within a few years, and these companies are going to get away with it, and for years and years and years they're going to be fighting them through the courts. They're going to end up making a movie with Julia Roberts as Erin Brockovich or something 20 years from now about this, and that's what's going to take. It's terrible. It really is. It's absolutely tragic. So there we go. That's me. I'm done. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Like, share, subscribe, please. You need to share more. You aren't doing much sharing. I need you to share this shit. I would really appreciate it. And if you want to, you can lend me your support over on the Patreon for £1 a month. That'd be awesome as well. Follow me on Twitter and head over to the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, head over to the Twitter. Do all that good stuff. So that's me. I'm out of here. Turtle Pip.